Welcome, guys, to tonight's Mesh Monday Night Call. And tonight, I'm really excited because over the past year and a little bit, I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with and spending a fair bit of time with the amazing speaker tonight, Erin Ashley. And basically, I met her through a book that I read, How Would Love Respond, and that led me to go to a retreat on Stradbroke Island, where I thought I was going to get some solid personal development, and I sure did. But the second thing that I wasn't expecting was that Erin would be there and how much of an impact her teachings would have on me. And I tell this story because I took lots of notes as usual, and I went to America. I took my book from there to read when I was in America, and I left it on the plane. And it was actually Erin's teachings that I was really, really upset on missing. So fast forward 12 months and I went back to the retreat so I could take all those notes down and just see how far I'd come. And when you do content for the second time, you're hearing it on fresh ears and you get to grow again. And this is the second time we've actually had Erin on. And just so you know who Erin Ashley is, she's a yoga teacher and mindfulness and meditation master. She actually teaches workshops at the Shenrezig. I don't know how to say that. I butchered that, but in the Sunshine Coast hinterland. It's one of the largest Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhist meditation and retreat institutes in the Western world. And yes, the Dalai Lama visits there when he's in town. Erin also has Power and Peace yoga and mindfulness retreats in Byron Bay, and she's the co-owner of Success International, together with her husband, Erin Ashley, where Erin hosts a multitude of programs and mindfulness retreats. And yeah, so I won't go on about that too much because I don't want to embarrass Erin with the massive list of accomplishments. But just to say that Erin's had a massive impact on my life would be a complete understatement. So without further ado, Erin, jump on. How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. And it's lovely to see so many familiar faces and new faces. And, you know, I've titled tonight's theme about getting inspired in your business and your life. And it's obviously attracted a few of you onto the call. So just out of interest, who at the moment is feeling inspired in what they do in business? Who is feeling inspired in what they do in business? Show me your hand. Raise your hand if you're feeling inspired. There's some kind of maybe no hands, some hands. What about in life in general? Who's feeling inspired in life in general? Show of hands. Yep. Okay, cool. The dog's even saying yes. Okay, you know, probably about half of us, and it was the same for business and in life. And so I'd really love to go, I mean, we know this word inspire, and we generally all have an understanding of what it is to be inspired, but I'd really like to tease it out tonight, because I think once you know about what being inspired means, the way that I've come to know what being inspired means, I hope that, you know, next time I'll see a few more raised hands, and that it's something that you're able to kind of turn on like a tool rather than waiting for something to happen for you to feel that way. Does that sound good? Does that sound like it's going to be in line with what everybody needs and wants? And feel free to put anything in the chat room as we go along. Great, lots of yeses. Okay, good. So, yeah, I'll start with a little story, and it comes from when I was recently teaching at the Woodford Folk Festival. Has anyone heard of that festival in Australia, the Woodford Folk Festival? Yeah, it's a really big one that happens just inland from Brisbane, about half an hour inland from Brisbane. And I was teaching 4 yoga classes there. I was one of the key feature yoga teachers at this festival. And it was about the second class in, and I'm sitting there in the middle of this class, and, you know, I'm giving the yoga students some space for a minute. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm here. Like, I'm here as a key headlining yoga teacher at a major festival. You know, I've got hundreds of people in my class in front of me. There's like a couple of 100,000 people that come to this festival. And I just took a moment to really take it in, because it was one of my big goals once, to headline a big yoga festival as a yoga teacher. It was just something I wanted to experience. And it was just 2 weeks ago, there I was living out my dream right then and there. And before that, you know, my dream was just to become a yoga teacher. Like, that felt huge to me one day, that to become a yoga teacher. You know, I remember looking for a school to do my yoga teacher training at, and in my head was kind of convincing myself, I'm just going to do this for the personal development aspect. You know, secretly in my head thinking, how could I ever be a yoga teacher? You know, I've practiced yoga for more than 20 plus years now, but, you know, when you're here and you look at someone else perhaps who's here, like say me, I'm a yoga student, and I see a yoga teacher, and you're just like, wow, what do you have to do to get to be there? So, you know, teaching at the Woodford Folk Festival, it just allowed me to take a little backtrack and look back to when I even just wanted to become a yoga teacher. And then I set the goal, I want to be a master yoga teacher now, and I want to headline at an international festival. And there I was, and really that space of time was very short. And just backtracking to when I signed up to do my yoga teacher training, I was looking for the school to do the training at. And I live on the Sunshine Coast here in Australia. And there was a yoga school on the Sunshine Coast that I'd heard of and seen. I'd never been to any classes. I kind of thought, you know what, I don't know that I want to do it in a regional town. I want the best yoga teaching I can get, and I want to maybe look in Brisbane, thinking that there would be a better quality of teacher trainers there. And I called the lady, I spoke to her and inquired about her course, and she was awesome, gave me all the information, and it was all sounding good. And she said, you know, Tammy Williams, who runs this yoga school on the Sunshine Coast, she and I did our training together. She's awesome. Why don't you do it there? Because logistically, you're going to be able to get, you know, to all the classes. And I thought, you know what? Okay, I'm going to open my mind and approach this school that's closer to me. And after one conversation with Tammy, it was this feeling that I had of connection with her. And, you know, it's kind of like when you are on YouTube and you're listening to a training video or something, and you're just really connecting with the speaker, or align with your coach or whoever it is. And I signed up then and there on the spot without even doing any yoga with her or anything. I just invested in this year-long course. It was thousands of dollars. So this turns out to be one of the most amazing personal development years of my life. And not only that, at the end of the yoga teacher training, we finish it off with a retreat on Stradbroke Island. And so I'm on this retreat, about to qualify as a yoga teacher, and there's a guest speaker who comes on the retreat to talk about the business of yoga to us all, because, you know, we all love yoga. We all want to do it for free and, you know, aren't really into the money thing at this point. And this speaker's going to come in and teach us about how to turn it into a business. And it just happens to be Erin Ashley. And I'd never seen Erin speak before. Erin is my now husband, by the way, for those of you who missed the intro. And I was very inspired by his talk, and I bought a copy of his book. This is my beaten up copy. He signed it for me. He said, Erin, live your dreams, Erin. And that might sound familiar to some of you. And I had a photo taken with him, and, you know, went away, read the book. I was in a relationship at that time and was coming out of it, and it helped me to come out of that relationship in a really empowering way, rather than the trajectory it might have been on. And, you know, fast forward a year later, and after catching up, Kurek and I end up going into a relationship with one another, and there's a few more stories in between then and then, but time is of the essence. So the point to me telling that story is that feeling that I had when I signed up for that initial yoga teacher training, when I made that initial decision. Like, not only did it get me my yoga teacher training qualification, but all of those offshoots in my life that I achieved by making that one decision that was in line with how I was feeling and in line with my wisdom. That's really the ability to take skillful action based on how you're feeling. So not only did I get my yoga teacher training, but, you know, my life has just expanded and blows my mind when I think back on just the power of tuning in and being able to make decisions from your seat of wisdom. And this is what I really want to teach you tonight, is about how to do that and how life expands from there. And when you think about the word inspiration, it really translates to in spirit. That's where the word comes from in the English dictionary. To be in your spirit is to be inspired. But first you've got to know how to connect with that core of you. That's the spirit. And I've done a little PowerPoint screen here that I'm just going to try to share. Here we go. Share. It's the share button, isn't it? Yep, there it is. Great. Give me a yes when you can see this up on your screen. Yay? Great. Oh, my graphics are a little off. Oh, well. It's not about being perfect, right? It's about embracing the imperfectness. So the layers of our being, in yoga, we call them the koshas, and you can think of them like the layers of an onion. And, you know, it starts with the physical body. So this is the tangible, you know, gross and subtle parts of you, like, you know, your muscles and your bones and your organs. And this really is the outer shell of us. It's like the vehicle that we've been afforded to reside in, to give our soul the experience that it's going to have in this lifetime. And, you know, interject whatever you want with the word soul or spirit, use God, you know, whatever rings true to you when I mention that. The second layer is our energy body. And it's like, you know, when you can see someone's aura or feel their negative energy or their positive energy, energy is best brought into the body through the breath. And we get rid of any stuck or stale energy through the out breath. In yoga, we call this pranayama, the practice of yoga breathing. Who drew the love heart? That's so cute. Was that you, Joel? I love that. I didn't know someone else could draw on the screen. Keep drawing. Someone's loving it. It's like the Facebook love alike. The next layer of our being. So you know how this is when you start to move your body in exercise, and you'll start increasing your pace of breath. And you know, the longer that we stay moving our body and our breath for, that it shines to the surface thoughts and feelings. You know, when we're put under pressure in life, our habitual thoughts and feelings will shine to the surface. In yoga, it really takes moving your body on the mat and coming to know your breath to start to get to know what's coming up in the mental domain, in the thoughts and the feelings. Someone loves me. That's very intriguing. Might be Kurek in the next room. No, I don't know. That's so funny. All right. So once we're able to work and move the body and the breath and come to know and be aware of our thoughts and feelings, this is mindfulness at work. This is when we can make those wise decisions. For example, that decision that I made that felt right, and, you know, we think to create, we feel to decide. I made that yoga teacher training decision from my seat of wisdom. It just felt right. And, you know, everything that's happened since that moment has been evidence of that. And the final layer that's the closest to our self our spirit, our soul is the bliss layer. And, you know, I don't know about you, but our purpose in life can really be as simple as just being happy, just to be happy. And if you think about what that means, that being inspired really feels like a level of happiness, right? It feels expansive, it feels broad, it feels spacious. It doesn't, when you're inspired, there doesn't really, there's no space for stress or constriction. It's a very expansive, blissful feeling. So to stay inspired really is to stay connected with yourself. And so it really takes moving through these layers and working these layers every day to come to know yourself and to stay connected to yourself and to stay inspired every day. So I'm just going to end the slideshow there before any other graffiti comes on the screen. That is so funny. Okay, I'm just going to stop share. Excuse me while I work out the technology here. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Stop share at the top. Got it. Okay. You could probably see all over my messy desktop right then. So, you know, to stay connected with, does anyone have any questions on that graph, the koshas? By the way, you can write it up in the chat room or unmute yourself if you have any questions on it before I move on. Callie's little one's giving a thumbs up. Cool. Okay, can't see any questions in the koshas. Someone says they love it. That's awesome. Thanks, Liz. So to stay connected and be inspired, when I say connected, I mean to stay inspired in your life and in your business is to really set goals that are from the soul. Kurek and I at the moment are in the middle of our Goals for the Soul tour, and we're showing people in at those events how to set goals that come from the soul. You know, they're not from the intellect, they're not what I think I should do. They're backed up with a heart-led intention, and you know, these are the ones that are really going to help you to get the experiences that your soul craves to have while you're here. Another story I'll share is when I was 20, I grew up in Melbourne and grew up in the same house for the first 18 years of my life. Moved out just an hour away, but after that I thought there's so much more to experience and I haven't ever really traveled before. So I threw a backpack on my back. I left, you know, all my worldly belongings at my parents' and started traveling around Australia by myself, just really in search for something else that I knew was out there for me. And I ended up on Hayman Island in the Great Barrier Reef. And, you know, the Great Barrier Reef's an amazing place. I'd never been there before. And the first time that I ever went snorkeling and put my head underwater, it was like, what is this world that exists underwater that I had never really known about? Like, I think I've seen pictures of this before. Who's ever been to the Great Barrier Reef or snorkeled or dived? Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing wonder. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. In fact, the Great Barrier Reef's the largest living organism that you can see from the moon, in fact. And I know these kinds of facts because I ended up going on to study to be a marine scientist. I just loved it so much and it inspired me, and I made the decision to go and make that my life for that particular time, marine science. And as part of that, my studies in James Cook University, I ended up on an exchange program with the University of Miami. And during my studies over there, having an awesome time taking subjects like Afro-Caribbean hand drum and vocal training and golf. You know, these American college students, like, wow, they pay like $60,000 US a year to do that sort of stuff. I was just paying my HEX fee back in Australia. It was a great ride. While I was over there living on South Beach, I met a guy who I ended up falling in love with. This is backtracking before my now husband, Kurek. And Nicholas ended up becoming my husband a few years later. And we were living in Australia now. I'd finished my degree, we'd travelled, we had our first baby. We were in Melbourne, beautiful baby Lucia. And when Lucia was 3, I fell pregnant again. And, you know, we were up on the Sunshine Coast at this point because we had made that decision, that inspired decision. Where do we want to bring up our family? Is it in the burbs of Melbourne or is it on the beaches of the Sunshine Coast? And we were like, let's go straight up to the Sunshine Coast. And we had our second baby, little Sasha. And so 2 beautiful girls. We're living within walking distance from the beach. We're designing our life this way, you know, living in an inspired way. And we're walking through the shopping centre one day, and Nico and I are literally walking and talking to one another. Lucia, our eldest daughter, who was nearly 4 at the time, was with her grandparents. Sasha, who was nearly 4 months old, Nico was carrying in one of those baby carriers. And just as we were walking and talking about to walk into a store, Nico fell to the ground really suddenly. And he had grabbed my shoulder on the way down. But as I turned to look at what this heaviness was on my shoulder, I could see his eyes were already out. Like I could just see the whites of his eyes. And he fell to the ground on his back, like he was reaching out for me in that moment to turn so he wouldn't fall on Sasha. And he didn't, and he fell to the ground. And within a minute had stopped breathing effectively. And we were in a public place, so first aiders were straight onto the scene. They said, hey, we just did our first aid course yesterday. We can help. Someone else is on the phone to the paramedics, and this whole scene unravels. After 9 minutes, the paramedics arrive and keep working on Nico, and I'm thinking, great, the experts are here. You know, he's going to be fine. Let's just get him handled and continue on with our day. Like, what the hell? You know, what a freak thing to happen. We end up going back to the hospital, and I get taken into another room where I'm looking after Sasha. I'm breastfeeding her and I'm changing her nappy and just getting her ready so that when they call me in to see Nico to take him home, that Sasha's all right for the next couple of hours while we get him sorted. And after a little while, they call me into the room, and as I'm walking into the door, I just see like 15 doctors and nurses standing there all with their heads down, and in the middle of them's Nico's still body laying there. And the doctor says, I'm sorry. And I say, what? And he says, I'm sorry, he's dead. I'm sorry, he's died. And I'm like, what? Like, we were just literally walking and talking 1 minute, and now he's dead. Like, you know, this was a moment in my life that really flipped my world upside down. And when I read the key gift that Curec leaves in his book, How Would Love Respond Here, it really resonates that everything in this life is borrowed and we have to give it all back. And the only thing that we get to keep is the love we gave, the love we receive, and the experiences our soul got to have. And, you know, I had 8 amazing years with Nico, and it's all borrowed. Like, it's not to set any kind of fear or panic in, yet, you know, your loved ones and the home you're living in right now, or the computer you're looking at, the desk, the whatever it is that you're surrounding yourself with right now, it's just all borrowed experiences. And, you know, it took me some time to come to terms and acceptance with Nico's death. I was, you know, left with beautiful 4-year-old Lucia and 4-month-old Sasha, and, you know, the plans of us growing old together and raising a family together just disappeared in one breath. And even after an autopsy and extensive medical testing, We just thought Nico died of a heart attack, but after extensive testing, they couldn't determine his cause of death. And I struggled with that for a long time. It was like I needed to know what happened so I could do something about it. I wanted to be able to prevent this from happening in my girls' lives, for example, who shared the same genes. I wanted to raise money for a cause to help fight cancer or aneurysms or whatever. Please give me something so I can have closure on this. And there was nothing. And we spent a couple of years genetic testing all his family in Argentina, his brothers and sister. And, I had to learn so much medical language in Spanish just to communicate everything that was happening, to be able to let the family know overseas what was happening. Nothing. And so it was just a matter of time that I had to come to some degree of acceptance that it doesn't matter how it happened or why it happened. It just happened. He died. And from here on in, it's what I do with it that counts. I can either let this event define me, which I did for a while. It was like I was looking through the filter of somebody whose husband had just died. And so every time I would come and interact with somebody through that filter, I really wanted to lead with that story. It felt huge in my life. My husband's just died. I can't afford that. I'm a single mum now. There was so many stories that would play out for me. And, when you find acceptance with unpleasant events in your life and you let go of the stories that are attributed to them, and you change your relationship to the events, and you come to find the gifts in them and to understand that it's not a selfish perspective, that event's being put before you to help your spirit evolve. Even 4-month-old baby Sasha, that event's been put in her life to help her stay inspired in life. Lucia, who had 4 beautiful years with her papa, who knew him and has beautiful memories with him, and he was a stay-at-home dad with her. For her, it's going to help her live eventually a richer and deeper life than perhaps what she would have before. And there's really no way to measure that except just with faith and belief and certainty. And, Nico's death really taught me about how to stay more inspired in life while we're here, and how to make it count and be inspired. And so what I'd like to do now is just a little exercise about how to stay inspired, because it's all good to say it and say this in theory and have words coming out that say this, but to really be able to embody it and use this like a tool on a daily basis, I'd love this to be your takeaway. So just take 1 minute now. In fact, first, put down your paper and your pens if you're holding any, and just get into a good posture in your body. So remembering the koshas, that the physical body is our outermost layer. And so wherever you are, whether you're sitting or standing, or it doesn't even matter if you're laying down, that's all good. Just settle into a comfortable position and just take a breath in and shrug your shoulders up to your ears. And then on the exhale, just lower the shoulders down. And overemphasize the breath. So breathe in, shrug the shoulders up. And breathe out, just relax the shoulders down. Good. And this time, shrug the shoulders up, really hunch them up, wear them like earrings. And on the exhale, just dump the shoulders down. And do that one more time. Big breath in. And then exhale, just dump the shoulders down. That's good. And then just close your eyes for a moment. And keep noticing the breath in through the nose, or if your nose is blocked, keep your mouth open, that's fine. The important thing is to breathe. And then the next important thing is to notice your breath and breathe out. Just do that a couple more times. As you're breathing in and out, see if you can notice that you're breathing in and out. So instead of having to do the breath, you be the breath. And if you're finding it hard to keep your eyes closed, then just find one point of focus ahead of you that's still. And in your mind's eye now, just imagine that you're in your childlike essence again. Like there's no responsibilities in life. You love playing and doing everything that you loved doing as a child that brought you joy and helped you to feel expansive and playful and childlike. And just see if you can get an image coming up in your mind of you as that child with that essence of playfulness and joy. You might be skipping, or you might be swimming, or you might be with somebody. And just take a breath in just to really soak in that essence of you as a child. And then take a long breath out and just crack your eyes open and grab your pen and notepad straight away, or get your keyboard ready if that's the way that you're writing tonight. And I'd love you to write down one big goal that you dream of achieving in life. It can relate to health and fitness. It can relate to finances, or, you know, bring out that inner child though. Like, what is it that that child wanted to experience in life? You know, maybe you wanted to be a hairdresser when you were 8, or call yourself Crystal. That was me. How funny. And maybe that's something that still resonates with you and that you would really like to experience in this lifetime. It could be anything. It could be having the relationship of your dreams, whether you're with a partner now or not with a partner now. Any area of your life, just write down one goal and don't overthink it. This isn't about what you should do or what you think you can achieve. Dream big. A favorite author of mine, Dan Millman, says, dream big, start small and connect the dots. That's his goal achieving strategy. How simple and powerful is that? So has everyone written down a goal? Nelly there? Yep, we'll just take 20 more seconds. All right, so once you've written down the goal, and it has to be a goal that inspires you. So look at it again. Is it a goal that inspires you? Or is it just like, oh yeah, I could achieve that kind of goal? Or does it really, oh my gosh, imagine getting to that place? Imagine me that fit and healthy, or imagine me surrounded, you know, in a really positive and empowering relationship, or imagine when I get to be the yoga teacher at Woodford Folk Festival, or imagine releasing my physical limitations, or whatever it is for you. Imagine me with 3 children, whatever it is. And just put your pen and paper down again once you've got your goal. And I'd like you to close your eyes again. So really, you're investing your time in being here, and I'd really love you to, whether you continue to do these kinds of experiences after this call or not, it doesn't matter, but to get the most out of your investment of time, really participate in this experience. It's only going to take a few minutes. So just come into a good posture where you're comfortable. And when we meditate in yoga and outside of yoga, the best thing you can do is to get into a comfortable position. It's not about having to be a perfect yogi and have your ankles wrapped up around your ears or anything like that. It's just relax, man, relax. Just get into a comfortable position, because remember those koshas, those layers, if you can't relax that physical layer, then you're not going to be able to relax your breathing, and then your thoughts aren't going to relax, and then there's no way you're going to be able to enter your wisdom body. and connecting to source or to self. So with your eyes closed here, just scan the body for any unnecessary tension. Maybe you habitually hold tension in your jaw, or your tongue grips on inside your mouth. Maybe you can release a few creases across the forehead. Relax the shoulders a little more. Maybe you notice that your thighs or hamstrings are just habitually holding on, and with your breaths out now, see each time if there's something that you can let go of in your body. So on every in-breath, and the breath is a beautiful, beautiful teacher of how to stay inspired, is that every time you inhale, you're inspiring. Every time you inhale, it's like you're transforming energy in a way that is like access to your true self and your true nature. So you inspire through your breath, and you inspire through all those other layers of your being. And then as we exhale, we just release anything that's not in line with that seed of inspiration. And so the best way to do this is to work from the outside in. We release tension in the body, and then we start to release tension in the breath. So as you breathe in, you inspire in spirit. And as you breathe out, it's like a reset button, like a surrendering to what is. You know, it's an acceptance with whatever's going on in your life right now, whatever the situation is, pleasant or unpleasant. The difference between whether you're having an inspired life experience or you're not having an inspired life experience is your relationship to those unpleasant or pleasant events. Come to befriend them all. That's acceptance. It doesn't mean that it was right or that whatever happened was justified. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you come into an improved relationship with it. And it no longer features as a block across the layers of your own being. It no longer blocks your connection to self. It no longer blocks your ability to be inspired. And just notice the next 3 breaths as though they're of the utmost importance. Like imagine the way that you would pay attention to the next 3 breaths if you knew that they were your last breaths. Like you're really soaking them up. But make it effortless. And now with that same attention that you've been placing on your breath, start to visualize now you having achieved that goal that you've just written down, like you're at the finish line of having achieved this goal that you've written down. Whatever it is for you, whether it's you at your ideal level of health and fitness, whether it's that look in your partner's eyes where you're really connecting because that's the relationship you dream of. Whether it's you reaching those business heights, those levels. Whether it's a certain financial goal. You know, you might see yourself looking at your bank account with the monetary figure showing up. Whatever it is. And just have a look at yourself now. So it's like you're observing yourself in third person, and with your eyes continuing to be closed here, you're watching yourself and you're just noticing the experience that you're having. Have a look at your face and your essence. Like you might be talking to someone, and just notice what your energy is like. Notice what your face is appearing like, and your heart, your front body, what you're doing with your arms. And see if you can summarize the experience that you're having in just one word. Like you might be noticing that you're very joyous or inspired or happy, expansive. Just choose one word right now, and here's a beautiful way of tapping into your intuition and your seed of wisdom, is that you just choose that first word that came to mind. And keeping your eyes closed, just raise your hand if you've gotten your one word already. Good. That's good. So just stay here for another half a minute, just soaking up this essence. Look at you having completed your goal in this state of being, this one word, and just have a look and feel into what it feels like. And now notice your next breath in through the nose. And your next breath out through the mouth. And now see if you can breathe the way that you would breathe if it was backed up with that one word. It's like you're breathing with that intention of that one word. So if your word was joy, how would you carry joy across your breath right now on the way in and on the way out? Or if your word was peace or happiness, how would you breathe if you were breathing in peace or happiness right now? Would your breath be short and choppy and forced, or would it be full of grace and ease and effortlessness and long and expansive? And just take one more breath, breathing in your intention in this way. And then come back to noticing your posture as you sit here with your eyes closed, and see if you can hold your posture in a way that embodies your experience, that one word. So how would you hold your body right now? What would be happening across your chest and your face? What would you be doing with your hands? Who would you be right now if you were embodying that intention, that one word? What does it feel like? And just take one more breath in and out, fully embodying your intention. And after that breath out, just place your right hand across the heart space and see if you can connect into your heart beating. And it's like a physical reminder here that this is the vehicle that you've been given to carry your soul through life in, to have the experiences that your soul desires. And that really is to keep you evolving and inspired. Inspiration doesn't have to be bouncing off the ceiling, jumping up and down, broadly smiling all day long. It can come with an essence of peace and stillness. And just thank yourself for spending these last few minutes connecting in with yourself. So in those last few minutes, we worked through all the layers of the koshas there, the physical, the breath body, the energetic body, the mental body. We created a visualization in the mind and honed in your seed of wisdom to gather that goal that was true to your soul. And then we've come back out through the layers of the koshas as well. We've worked our way back out through the mind, through the body, and through the physical, through the breath, and then through the body. And just crack your eyes open now. Good. And just take a moment to journal down underneath your goal, your word, the one word that you came out with. In yoga, we call these words intentions or sankalpas. And literally, sankalpa translates to vow of truth. And it's like a vow of truth that you're setting to your higher self, which is that core of you in the middle of the koshas. So I'd love to hear your words. Would you type them into the chat room right now? I'd love to hear your words. If you're happy to share them, you don't have to. Excited, freedom, perfect, blessed, free, joy, empowered, blissful, peaceful, secure, success, amazingly happy, success. Would you say that all these words align with inspiration? Like, these are all very inspirational words and they feel very expansive and spacious. That's good. That's really good work. I mean, every one of you who have typed up there have really gone in and have used your seed of wisdom to connect in with those words. Those words align with bliss, which is the closest layer of you to your soul. And this is really goals for the soul. You know, this is the event we're running at the moment. It takes time to set the goals that are truest for the soul, but it doesn't take much time. It just takes present moment time. And, you know, the meditation that we just did is a really beautiful way for you to stay connected every day to what's true for you. And so then in your business and in your life, when you step out the door in the morning or pick up the phone or get on the emails, you're in touch with yourself first, and then you can operate from your seed of wisdom when you're making decisions throughout the day. You know, we think to create and we feel to decide. We think to create, you know, 95% of our thoughts are thoughts that aren't in touch with our seed of wisdom, thoughts that aren't really coming from our soul space. And so we really want to get to know our thoughts and come to befriend them all, get to know what are the 95% that are coming up for me, so I know how to manage them when they do arise. And then you can really tidy yourself up on that mental layer, on that third layer, because then you can really come to know those 5% of thoughts that are going to be those wise business and life decisions, like signing up for yoga teacher training. So there's a few ways that we can train ourselves every day to stay more connected to our soul, to our seed of wisdom, or to our spirit. And I've just mentioned the first one is meditation, and I'll always recommend it. And I know you've heard it before from me, a lot of you. Meditation doesn't have to be about sitting in your seat still for an hour. It can be a visualization meditation like I just ran through with you. My favorite way to meditate is with no music, no guided visualizations. It really is just to sit down and start to work through those koshas really simply, to start to notice the physical body and, okay, where's unnecessary tension showing up in me this morning? Oh, I wouldn't have known it's in my neck if I hadn't have just taken that second to ask that question in meditation. Okay, so now I'm familiar that my neck's a little stiff this morning, is an example. Now I'll be able to respond skillfully today. Maybe I won't go and do that boxing class. I'll choose yoga instead, or something like that. Skillful action. This is what this is all about. First, you notice in meditation how your body's presenting, and then you just notice your breath. Start there. And I've got on my website, erinashley.com.au, I've got a free 5-day meditation challenge, and it gives you, I send you each day emails and you get free meditation audios if you'd like. some to kickstart you off. And there's a great app called Insight Timer as well, or it might just be Insight. Like thousands, tens of thousands of amazing meditations of all types and times. And there's even little beautiful Tibetan bowl dongs that you can choose to end your meditation in. You can tailor it to your choice. So, you know, message one, find a way to meditate every day. If you can't sit in your seat of meditation in that way, then turn one of your common autopilot activities that you do every day, like the way that you roll out of bed, or the way that you shower, or put the kettle on and make your cup of coffee, turn those into moving meditations. Notice what your body's doing when you're doing those activities. Notice what your breath's doing as the droplets of water from the shower fall across your skin. So the multi-skillers of you will love this. You can meditate while you're moving. How cool is that? And then work towards going into your formal seat of meditation. So meditate, number one. Second, set yourself an intention every day. So the one that you've just extracted there, this could be your life intention, like grateful, amazingly happy, success, secure, peaceful, blissful. You know, this might be your intention that you remind yourself as of ongoing, because you know that that's what you've extracted from your soul right now during this exercise. And it might change day by day, that's fine. So I recommend on a daily basis, either as soon as you wake up so that you can rewire your brain in a way for the day that's going to be in line with your soul, is ask yourself, what does my heart most deeply desire right now? Or this is a great way to extract, these are great intention extraction questions. How would I like to present myself to the world today? And these are qualities like we've just extracted. They're not goals, they're qualities of mind and heart. So one, meditate. Two, set an intention. And three is notice what you're paying attention to in life. The best way to do this is to go back to number one and meditate and notice what comes up for you in your seat of meditation, because energy flows where awareness goes. So in your business or in life, if you're wondering why you're getting certain feedback, it's because you're investing energy there in one way or another. It might be one of those 95% of thoughts that you just habitually have every day that's on repeat, that's going to keep this particular situation hanging around in your life. Start becoming aware of and tuning into how those 5% of thoughts feel that feel right. That feel right. And I hold my heart because that's really where you feel them, the feelings, those heart-led decisions. And you might just ask yourself, is it a yes or is it a no? Or does this feel expansive or constrictive? Does this feel peaceful or stressful? Ask yourself good questions and you'll get good answers. So one, meditate. Two, set yourself an intention. And three, become aware of what you're awarenessing. And the 5-day meditation challenge that I've got really helps to lead you into that mindfulness. We start with some really simple meditations and then start to open the mind to a little more than just the body and the breath meditations. So I'd like to leave you with 3 key messages because I covered a lot today. 3 key messages. One is to only set goals that are in line with your soul. So when you are goal setting, get yourself into a good emotional space. Erin Ashley, as you would know, if you've read his book, How Would Love Respond, or have been to any of our seminars, he sets you in a beautiful space with music at our Find Your Fire retreats, for example. We get some good music happening. We get ourselves into a really good emotional space before we set the goals, because we don't want to set them from a bad emotional space. They're likely to be kind of reactive goals, or with an angle or an agenda, or payback or something like that. We don't want that. We don't want that. The soul doesn't desire to have those kinds of experiences. So get yourself into a good emotional space to set your goals. I'd take 10 minutes to keep completing that list of goals that you've started tonight if you haven't already set your 2019 goals. And 2, move and fuel your body in some way every day. So it doesn't have to be yoga. Kuroki practices Aikido, for example. That's his yoga. That's the way he moves his body. You might take a walk in nature. You might do Zumba. You might do boxing, whatever it is for you. Just move this physical body in some way every day, and fuel it with pretty good food, whatever that means for you. Any issues of the mind or emotions that arise they usually come down to 3 things. I'm big on 3s tonight. There's 3 questions I'll always ask myself if I'm having an emotional moment or having a struggle in my mental domain. And one is, did I get enough sleep last night? Like, am I getting enough rest? 2, am I moving my body in some way every day? And 3, am I eating a well-balanced diet? Am I getting enough rest? Am I moving my body in some way every day? And am I getting enough rest? Did I just say that twice? Rest, body, move your body, and eat pretty good food. And usually one of those is out of whack. Last night our bedroom door was like a revolving door with our 3 kids. Like, one got sick in the middle of the night, another one had some weird issue with her little light in her room, and the other one is just waking up a couple of times during the night at the moment. And I think I must have woken up about 10 times, and I'm on little sleep today. And so any little reactions that I've had today, I've gone across the 3, and you know what? I didn't get much sleep last night. So now I'm aware that I'm in this space of I'm a little under par, and I'll choose my response from that space of knowing now. That's wisdom. So now I'm not going to be so reactive and blame everybody else for what I think is their fault today. I'll just come to know I just didn't get enough sleep. Like, back off, Erin. It's okay. So fuel your body in some way every day, and do the same with the layers, those first 3 layers of the koshas. Move your body, move your breath, and move your mind. And so what are some examples of how we can move our mind? I'd love to hear in the chat room. How do you move your mind every day? We know how we can move our body, and we know how we can move our breath simply by paying attention to our breath. Christine reads. Yep, Penny reads. Yeah, you can read. I mean, this is really opening your mind. And when you input new information neurologically, you're literally creating new neurological pathways. If you imagine your brain as like an electrical network, and all the lights of the switchboard are firing off all the time, if we don't learn a new piece of information in our day, then it's just the same old circuit board. It's the same old operator on the switchboard. But if you read audiobooks, self-development books, good, even morning walks, learning a lesson from nature, paying attention to trees, God, there's so many lessons there, is that you literally fire off new pathways and you open your mind. You open your mind. And Joel, I've heard that you're reading Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza. Highly recommend this book for opening your mind. This is amazing. And it really incorporates everything that I've been talking about tonight in his book. He really gives that neuroscience backing to all of this. It's awesome. Music, podcasts, awesome. Good. So key messages: set the goals that resonate with your soul. Move your body, your breath, and your mind in some way every day. And 3, and it's a repeat from my last top 3, is to set yourself an intention every day, because that experience that your soul wants to have, remember, this is all we get to keep once the ride's over, the experiences that the soul got to have. And you can experience that right now, even though your goal isn't here yet, you can embody that experience right now. And here's the beauty of this, is that when you bring this experience into your life more, now you're jumping onto that frequency where those goals are reached. Like you're reducing this time gap between you here and now, having this experience of being blessed, grateful, secure, peaceful, whatever your intention was, and the amount of time that it's going to take to have that experience when you reach your goal. And what this does is it allows you to enjoy the whole journey of life to the goal. And another Curekism, I'm just turning into a book, a Curek quotes verbatim, but he says it's not about the goal, it's about the growth. And our soul is here to evolve. That's why, you know, you're in this body, you're in this vehicle, your soul's in it, and it's here because it wants to evolve and grow and expand. And that can only happen by understanding and aligning with the essence of those intentions that your soul desires to have. And you can have it right now. Like hopefully you experienced it on this phone call. Hopefully you experience it when you wake up in the morning. And it's not like you have to wait for anything outside of you to happen before you can have this experience of life. Are there any questions? I'd love some questions. If you have any, unmute yourself and jump on.
Anyone have a question? I'm on gallery view now, so I can see if you're putting your hand up.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say that was an amazing call.
Fantastic, isn't it? So Monday night calls have become amazing. They've become really, really amazing. And thank you so much, Erin. And if there's no questions, what I might do is I might, to keep this content evergreen, which just means you guys can use it forever. Like imagine sharing this with your team and getting them to do or your friends, or getting them to do that process. Like it's a game changer, right? So I've got something to share with you guys at the end, and I'm just going to turn the recording off now. So stay on. So thank you so much, Erin.
Oh, pleasure. Well, if you know, it's been a bit of a ride, and sometimes we'd come out feeling a little speechless. And I mean, that was the experience that you just afforded yourself. If there is anything that comes up for you, or if you feel a little ungrounded after that, or, you know, anything, feel free to connect and shoot me a message, and I'll be more than happy to connect with you on it.
Amazing. All right. Thank you.